Greetings from the Advocates Effect. My name is Daniel.
And my name is James. Recently, Lawrence Lessig, founder of Fix Congress, first published an essay in the Huffington Post. Titled, In Praise of Tea, he talks about the Tea Party's efforts to fight corruption in our government.
He begins by saying, "Many of my friends have been puzzled that I have not been a strong critic of the Tea Party. Indeed, quite the opposite, I stand as a critical admirer. That means that, while I don't share most of the substantive ends of many in that movement, and I strongly object to the extremism of some, I'm a genuine admirer of the urge to reform that is at the heart of the grassroots part of this, perhaps the most important political movement in the current political context."
Lawrence goes on to discuss in his essay that the Tea Party patriots have called for a GOP moratorium on earmarks. Key Republican leaders including Senator Jim DeMint and soon-to-be-installed Speaker of the House John Boehner intend to introduce a resolution to support such a moratorium in their caucus. But many Republicans in both the House and Senate have opposed a moratorium. Earmarks, they insist, are only a small part of the federal budget. Abolishing them would be symbolic at best.
Notably, Tea Party leaders described in an email sent to their supporters that they, for 2 years, have told the media and the rest of the country that they are nonpartisan, and that they intend to hold all lawmakers to a higher standard.
Professor Lessig acknowledges the Tea Party is right to push to abolish earmarks from Congress, and the defenders of the status quo are either deceivers or just plain dumb. It is true that the total spending affected by earmarks is tiny. But by the same logic, one might as well observe that the bribes paid to Congressman Randy Duke Cunningham, Republican, and William J. Jefferson, Democrat, were tiny as well. Is that a reason not to prosecute those members for taking them?
Importantly, he states that earmarks are not bribes, but they are an essential element in the corruption that is Congress today. As Washington Post reporter Robert Kaiser describes in his fantastic book, So Damn Much Money, they have become the key to an incredible economy of influence that effectively enables lobbyists to auction too many policy decisions to the highest special interest bidder. That economy won't change simply by eliminating earmarks. But eliminating earmarks is an essential first step to starving this republic-destroying beast.
There can be little argument with his statement that a government in which access can be bought and influence paid for is not the republic our framers intended. They wanted a Congress dependent, as Federalist No. 52 puts it, upon the people alone. But through both Democratic and Republican administrations, Congress has evolved to become dependent not upon the people, but upon the funders. Earmarks are a critical element in that dependency. And if we're going to end government captured by an elite, we have to end that dependency.
Professor Lessig believes that this fight is just the first in a series that this more principled wing of the Tea Party movement can expect. For the truth is that not everyone on the right shares their passion for ending the corruption that now rules Congress. During the rise of the GOP in the 1990s, some of the rights suggested that it was just socialist to question the power of the rich to buy influence over our government. The ideals of the free market, these GOP leaders insisted, should include a free market to buy government policy.
Most significantly, Lawrence states, it is an important and valuable development for the Republic that a powerful and passionate political movement on the right makes ending this free market in government influence a core plank in its platform.
I agree with his suggestion that, if the Tea Party is really to be nonpartisan, then it needs to stop limiting itself to speaking to Republicans alone. Important Democrats share at least some of their reform ideals, including otherwise liberal Democrats, such as Congresswoman Jackie Speer. The movement should rally members from both the right and the left for any reform that is right, as incorrect. The Tea Party patriots' reform to abolish earmarks is plainly that.
Professor Lessig doesn't expect that any of his admiration for the Tea Party's grassroots efforts will be reciprocated or returned. He anticipates that a movement against elites is not likely to listen to a Yale-educated Harvard professor. He goes on to say that if their movement is to be as central to the restoration of the American Republic as its most passionate supporters believe, then it needs to recognize that, while they don't share common ends, they do face a common enemy. Special interest government is anathema to both the true right, and as he describes the limping left.
I agree with his final statement. Progress would be to work together to end it. That's it for this evening's edition of The Advocate's Effect. We hope you will subscribe to these important educational efforts as we work to bring you a greater understanding of the importance to our nation and our nation's future.